Hey everybody, what's going on? It's James here with Crypto Common Sense. Wanted to shoot a market update video for you. It's a little after 6 a.m. my time on November the 4th. So we just had our 12-hour candle close. And of course, yesterday we had our daily and our weekly candle close. So I want to give you a market update. Before I jump into today's video though, please do me a huge favor. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up button on this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, before I jump into the charts today, guys, I wanted to talk about a little bit of a bias that I have, and it's going to be the exact opposite of what you might expect. So a lot of people have accused me over the last 3 or 4 months of having a bearish bias because of an emotional need to get back into this market. They say that I have a bear bias because of emotions, right? I'm emotional. I sold my Bitcoin. I want to buy my Bitcoin back, etc., etc. So I just want to go ahead and be very, very transparent and share something with you guys that I've never shared on the channel before, and I probably won't talk about it a whole lot in the future either. I do have an emotional bias, but my bias is actually bullish, and I'm going to explain why right now. I do fairly well as a trader, right? I don't make millions of dollars, but I do fairly well for myself. But my trading income has never come close to my entrepreneurial income. All right, I've been an entrepreneur now full-time since 2011. I closed my business down in 2017 to focus on trading. But then what happened was, I'm a creator at heart, and software specifically is my bread and butter. So I started creating a software product that solved a lot of the problems that I was having with trading, things that didn't exist, right? So when I created this product, the natural thing was to say, hey, would anybody else want this if I made this available? And I put it for sale in my Facebook group. I didn't do like a fancy sales page for it. I didn't do a promotion for it. I literally just slapped together like a very blunt page. Hey, this is the software. It's pretty buggy, but if you'd like it, here's how to get it. And in the first 24 hours that software was for sale, it made over $50,000 net profit. That's after development cost. In the first 30 days that software was for sale, it made over $100,000. And the software went on to make more money after that. So my point being, guys, is when this market is raging bull, I'm going to make far more money from my software business than I'm ever going to make as a trader. There is no comparison. So yes, I would much rather be wrong, watch this market completely moonshot, Bitcoin go completely nuts, everybody get rich, because when people are getting rich, they have money to spend, and when they have money to spend, they buy my software, right? And that software business is a business that can run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I don't have to be at my desk. I don't have to worry about, am I wrong? Am I going to lose money in this trade, right? I like trading. I enjoy it. Even when the software was selling, I was still trading. It was still what I was doing every day. So I just wanted to put that out there because the reality is I'm going to make way more money if I'm wrong than what I'm going to make if I'm right. Plus, if this thing does go full bull and I can just buy some Bitcoin, then I can trade alt pairs, right? Add to my Bitcoin stack, and then also be making money passively as Bitcoin climbs. So, there's no emotional reason for me to be bearish, right? Being bearish sucks. And to be totally frank with you, I'm tired of being bearish. I'm tired of it. I'm frustrated with it. But that's what bear markets do to bears. They beat bears up, right? And it might sound silly. You might be thinking, no, they beat bulls up. No, they don't. Because bulls are these, ever exuberant optimist, right? They always think the price is going up. Bears are the ones that are tired, right? It's grinding. They're waiting so that they can go long. Okay, so that's what I've been doing for 4 months, is just waiting, and it gets really old, right? I'm looking at alt pairs and I'm seeing setups that I've created come in, and I'm seeing opportunities where I think a coin's going to pop for 20 or 30%, but then I can't trade it because I don't own any Bitcoin. The only alternative I have is to go ahead and buy Bitcoin and then buy that coin, hope I can get the 20 or 30% out of it, hope I can cash back out to fiat before Bitcoin crashes. But I won't do that because I did that in 2017, right? I had actually liquidated most of my Bitcoin, and then I ended up having to buy it back at about $13,000. I didn't buy all of it back, but I bought some of it back at $13,000 because I needed it to trade altcoins. And then, of course, Bitcoin dumped, so all the gains that I made were basically useless because, I had more Bitcoin, but Bitcoin was worth less money. So I just want to put that out there because, I'm a bear, guys. I'm a bear because the charts are bearish. Emotionally, it would be much better for me if this thing went completely ape shit and went to the moon, right? Financially, it would be better if this thing went completely nuts and went to the moon. Point blank. I'd rather miss the boat on the, hodl side, if you will, and make tons of money from software than make no money from software and only have my trading income. And I'm being quite blunt with you. The software that did so well in 2018, and before the bear market went full swing, right? I launched the software January 1st of 2018. In 2019, that software has made maybe, I have to go back and look, but maybe $5,000 gross. And after my expenses to pay for the servers and pay for the APIs and pay for the development and everything else, I'm operating in a loss on that software. So you tell me, why in the hell would I want Bitcoin to go down when it's costing me money every month in my software business? Okay? With all that being said, let's take a look at the charts and let's see what's going on. So first things first, I had a short open before I went to bed last night. I got a few hours of sleep before I got woke up by alarms. I had a short open. I got stopped out for break even. The short was at $9,203. So now I'm just kind of watching this thing. I still have a nasty suspicion that this thing is not done going up and that it's still going to try to trap some people. So I'm still not really interested in any swings. I tried to take that swing last night, but again, I put a stop loss at break even after it started to go down. I didn't want to get too confident in it. But it's, I don't want to look at this chart. This is the BLX chart. I want to look at, actually, you know what? Let me give you guys some tips real quick before we get into the charts. Guys, one thing about CME is you'll notice that when CME closes on Fridays, price almost always opens in the same range it closed in. So it's kind of, I don't want to say it's a sure thing because it's definitely not. But if you ever notice that, right? The gaps, they're pretty rare. Normally you open where you close at or pretty close to it. So this was Friday's close back on November 1st. It closed at 92.35. And if you look, yesterday's open, it opened at 92.70, within about 0.5% where it closed. So if you guys ever expect that price is going to get really wonky on a weekend, it can happen, obviously. That's where you get gaps. But more times than not, price is just going to settle right back to where it was 2 days before that, okay? So always keep that in mind. On the 3-day chart, we're still looking the same, right? We're still inside of this bear market RSI. I'm not even going to look at price. I just want to look at RSI. You can see here that we tagged this resistance and that so far we haven't been able to break out of that. I'm a little bit, cautious to go swing short, like I said, because this thing could very well come back up and test the top of that. And if we did, that would pump us back up to like probably 96, 9,700, which I think is still a legitimate possibility. So I don't want to go in there and open up a 3 or 4, 5 Bitcoin short, right, at $9,300 or $9,200, and then it go up to 9,700 and stop me out. So I'm just patiently waiting. Not that patient. I'm pretty frustrated, but I'm just waiting to see which way this thing is going to go. If we look at a daily chart, I don't like this daily chart that much, but we'll use it for this video. Let's turn off. Actually, I'm going to leave all these MAs on. Okay, so we've got the yellow line down here, support. Talked about this a few days ago. Obviously, we're nowhere close to that. It's not really worth mentioning. Up here, we've got this red line. This is our resistance right around 94.29. So until we break above that, I'm not going to be very bullish. And even breaking above that won't necessarily turn me into a bull, but certainly as long as we're underneath it, I'm bearish. Okay. One thing that I will point out is you notice this blue line here. This is our 200 daily moving average. It's a simple moving average, and it has acted as support several times. It acted as support on the 30th of October, 31st, November 1st, November 3rd, and today we nearly touched it, but not quite. I actually went long off of that thing yesterday. Even as a bear, I actually took a long position. It was quite a change for me, but I've closed that position obviously now. So watch that thing, because I suspect that once it breaks down and once we get a close underneath that 200 daily moving average, I suspect that things are going to probably get very, very nasty very, very quick. That's currently sitting right around $9,108. Okay. The orange line, not that important to me. It's the 50 moving average. It just shows that the death cross is there. This thick yellow line that you see, this is actually a 147 day moving average. And if you're wondering why 147 days, it's just simply a 21-week moving average, right? 21 times 7, 147 days. It's sitting up around 98.78, and that's kind of the magical bear bull line, if you will. Basically, during a bear market, it acts as resistance. During a bull market, it acts as support. You can see here, came down and touched it a few different times during the corrections. And over here, we came up, we tested it, we failed, and now we're way underneath it. But interestingly enough, if we do get that pump that I'm talking about to create that M on the 3-day RSI, that could take price up here and test this line again. That would be ideal for me as a bear to get something like that, a failure, and then a breakdown so I can get a good short entry. That being said, I'm going to be careful what I wish for, because I said in previous videos a couple weeks back that if this thing would do me a favor and pump to 9,500, I'd open a monster short, and I did, and I got stopped out and lost a ton of money. So careful what I wish for, right? So that's the daily charts. If we take a look at a weekly chart, I don't know if I have one pulled up or not. All right, so same deal, 21-week moving average, we just talked about that. It acted as resistance. The 12 EMA has done a fairly good job of acting as resistance and support as well. You can see here that it was support here, support all through here, and now we're sitting right on top of it again. That's sitting around 91.85, so that's something to keep an eye on as well. Still underneath the bear market RSI line, you can see here. By the way, guys, we can make this a box instead of just a line. We could actually make this a box, and we could say that this is our bear market RSI, right? And you can see that during the bear market it came down, support, resistance, support, slipped underneath it, resistance, right, support, boom, underneath it. So again, support down at the bottom here, resistance at the top. So pretty cliche stuff, okay? If I take a look at the hourly chart, this thing does have some bullish tendencies. I think this looks like a W, right? Looks like a nice double bottom. Oftentimes after a W breaks like that, you'll come back down and retest the neckline, which my magnet's on, so it's screwing up my line. Come down and retest the neckline a lot. And really that's the point that you want to watch, because if it bounces there, that's bullish, right? But if it just falls through it, it's just a false break. So I'll be watching that 92.20 area today, see how we play on that. We still have room to grow. The hourly RSI, it's only at 62, so there's still lots of room that thing can pump up. If we look at 4 hour, still lots of room. It's sitting right here in the middle of the range. So, sitting on top of the EMAs in the 4 hour, that's bullish. So pretty mixed signals, which is par for the course lately. Okay. One thing I will point out is if you draw this triangle from the close over here to the close over here, we did just break above it, and now we're retesting it, right? So that could be bullish, could bounce off of that. That being said, if you look at our RSI trend, from way back here on October 25th, this thing has been respected. I'm going to touch here, a touch here. We just came up and touched it, but so far it's trying to turn back over and come back down, so we'll see how that plays out. I am in a short position right now, but it's not a swing short, it's just a little day trade short. I will close it if it gets back down here to this neckline, unless it looks weak, right? I'll probably close it for a small gain. So that's kind of what I'm saying on Bitcoin. I didn't get a chance to look at a lot of the altcoin charts yet. I appreciate you guys listing the ones out you'd like me to take a look at, so I definitely will get to that. One thing I want to mention today is the stock to flow ratio that people have asked me about. I hear a lot about this, especially on Twitter. Guys, stock to flow, essentially what that means, I had to actually Google this. I didn't really know what it meant. So I finally Googled it and said, okay, what is this? Once I Googled it, it was kind of like I almost chuckled. It's really not that big of a deal. It's really not what people are making it out to be. Stock to flow is literally how much of an asset exists compared to how much of the new asset is being produced. So for example, it comes from stuff like precious metals. So if you have 100,000 tons of gold, right, and you're mining another 10,000 tons of gold a year, right, your flow is 10,000, your stock is 100,000, so your stock to flow is like 10 or whatever. I don't remember what the formula is. You divide one by the other. I don't remember which one you divide by which. But essentially that's all it is. It's measuring an asset's scarcity. So in Bitcoin's case, of course, there's 21 million Bitcoin. There's such and such being mined every year. But guys, something being scarce doesn't automatically make it valuable. For example, if I draw a picture for you, right? I don't draw very often. I used to draw when I was a kid, but as an adult, I've probably drawn 5 or 10 pictures in my entire adult life in the last 20 odd years. So there's extremely scarce, right? Almost nobody owns one. They're also completely worthless, right? So Bitcoin, all that is when people talk about stock to flow, they're talking about how rare it is, right? We all know it's rare. There's no doubt about that. Bitcoin is rare. So are any number of other altcoins, but it doesn't mean that they're all going to be worth, hundreds of thousands of dollars someday. So stock to flow is kind of like it's a mental masturbation thing. It's like, oh, let's get excited about stock to flow ratio. Oh yeah, right? Doesn't make any sense to me. I'm going to keep an eye on Litecoin. I say this about Litecoin. I think there's a couple different ways you can draw this shape, but personally it looks more like a falling wedge than anything else to me. And it does look like we had a breakout the other day. I didn't really pay much attention to it because we're still within the triangle and RSI. But now today with this pump, at least temporarily, we're outside of this. So that looks interesting to me. I want to keep an eye on that. Now the thing to be very aware of with this is this candle is still open. This is the daily candle. So yes, right now it looks like it's outside of this. But if this candle closes lower, then this little RSI is going to come right back down inside that triangle, and it will end up looking like it just touched it, right? It won't look like it ever came outside of it. So I'll be watching Litecoin. That's pretty interesting. Really though, I mean, just being completely honest, guys, I'm just not interested in investing anything right now, right? Until Bitcoin looks bullish, I don't really want to hold a bunch of altcoins because, while this coin might be good for a $30 or $40 pump, I don't know. I doubt it, but it's possible, right? The way these normally work is you measure them from the top to the bottom, which would be right around 40 bucks. So if you put a $40 breakout target on Litecoin, technically there's a case to be made that it's going to pump to $91, right? But I just don't see it doing that if Bitcoin is dropping. If Bitcoin moves sideways, that's a possibility. If Bitcoin moves up, it's definitely a possibility. But if Bitcoin, continues to correct, if Bitcoin's in a bear market, it seems unlikely to me. Okay, so but I will watch it. Try to keep an open mind on it. I just can't put a lot of money into this stuff right now. And it's funny because I was having a conversation with somebody on Twitter the other day, and we were actually talking about the fact that a lot of people who are super, super bullish on Bitcoin, we have a theory that the reason they're so bullish is because they don't have very much of it. So if, let's say, for example, that you have 0.1 Bitcoin, I'm just using it because it's a nice round number. So at today's prices, that's a little over $900 worth of Bitcoin. So of course it's okay for you to be bullish, and of course it's okay for you to be excited about going up, because if it goes up to 100 grand, you're going to make 9 or 10 grand. 10 grand, right? If you got a 0.1, it goes up to 100 grand, you'll make 10 grand. That's awesome. Where at the same time, you're not really risking a whole lot, right? $900 is not like a life-changing amount of money for most people. So of course you're not worried about holding 0.1 Bitcoin. But then you look at other people who are listening to that advice, and they might be buying 5 or 10 Bitcoin or 20 Bitcoin, right? And so suddenly when they're going to bed with $100,000 or $200,000 at risk, and it's a totally different ballpark. So that's kind of where I'm at. Is I don't want to put tens of thousands of dollars into any of this stuff, right? I just don't feel comfortable that it's a bull market. I still think it's a bear market, guys. And again, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I hope like hell I'm wrong. I hope this thing just goes nuts, right? Be great. It'd be wonderful for me. But I don't think so. So, with all that being said, I don't really have a whole lot of new stuff to add. It's just kind of the same story, just waiting for this thing to break down. It is very, very frustrating. But remember, we had the same thing right here, right? This thing actually ranged from September 24th all the way up to October 23rd. So basically a full month. It just ranged sideways, and then when it dumped hard and came right back up and put in this nice upside down BART, depending on who you are. Wasn't nice for me. So this thing has now been ranging since October 25th. That's in reality, it's only 10 days, right? So it could continue to do that throughout the rest of the month. Okay? So we'll just have to watch it, and until it puts in a solid trend, I'll just keep day trading, and I'll wait to open the swing. And if I miss it and this thing does break down, then so be it. But I personally think that once we break south of the support, if we break south of the support, I think the move down will be pretty quick and violent. All right. So guys, please remember, I am literally some guy sitting in a spare bedroom. Nothing in this video is financial advice or trade advice. You should always do your own due diligence and seek out professional investment advice before making any type of investment. Also, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And don't forget to check the description for links where you can follow me on TradingView, Twitter, and also where you can join my absolutely free Facebook group. This is James with Crypto Common Sense. Trade safe.